folks, welcome back to Glory Hunter with me, DoctorBenjyFM. Are you prepared for a podcasty episode where I cut the video maybe 3 times maximum if things go well? Well, that's what you're going to get today. Hello, welcome back. It's a little bit of a different speed and tempo, but a regular episode for your ears and eyes today, as you see we've got Nims and Angers coming up. But you can see, since we last met against the Dijon mustard side that we faced last time, things have gone better than I ever could have expected. I think that's the only way to describe it. Vafsy were beaten, Nantes beaten, we even won our friendly, that didn't really mean that much. Montpellier and Metz both beaten as well in the French Cup, which puts us in the 11th round. If we win that, we go to the quarterfinals. All the big boys are still left in it. Rennes was a 2-0 win, and most recently a 1-0 victory over Paris Saint-Germain, which I'm extraordinarily proud of. They scored, Cristiano of all people as well, scored a very late goal that was ruled out for offside. So we were fortunate in that regard. But Bruno Santos with a goal that mattered. Let's check it out. Let's take a look at it. I'll be honest, I was skipping this game and going to sort of the end of January because I figured, in my mind, this is probably the game that I just sort of surrender and lose. And as sort of we got to 70, it became clear that that's not what was happening and we were probably going to end up winning the game. This is the goal that scored, the keeper out of position, Santos with a big header. And it's interesting because I've just bought a right winger, Bruno Santos. Is someone of contention. I tweeted out this afternoon that I'd bought 2 wingers. One of those wingers has since rejected my contract after accepting it. So interesting. You can see here, though, Bruno Santos, Portuguese, 32 years of age, getting on the back end of maybe his career, and you see some of those attributes starting to decline, especially the physical ones that we're going to rely upon. This year has been fantastic, though. 8 goals, 7 assists in 7 games. Really, really good. But I was looking to bring in 2 wingers on either side, the first of which has actually been brought in. That's Aitor Ruiz to play on the right-hand side. Spanish, I was going to say international, but capped at under 20 level, not capped at regular level. Regular level. Dribbling and crossing, very good. Physically, fantastic as well, as we've got some really nice mental passing technique. Spanish, basically, viewers. 6'2", though. Yeah, I think he'll be a really good asset for us. He's not really fit in at Lazio. They bought him for big money from Atletico Madrid. It's not really worked out for him. Had 1 sort of indifferent season, 6 assists that year. Last year, hardly played at all. I think for 16 million for a player of this quality that can maybe become a pivotal part of my side, he's not incredible. He's not amazing. And I think for 16 million pounds, actually, we've got ourselves a bit of a bargain. He joins us as a little bit of cover as well. We were struggling to have players on that right-hand side, other than maybe Diallo to fill in there, which obviously isn't really what we want. So, yeah, we're happy with that. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, I think we've got a decent squad that we're building. On the left-hand side, of course, we have Leclerc. Now, I've been saying Leclerc, not Leclerc. I've been saying Leclerc, which obviously isn't coming across very well. So if it's Leclerc, I don't know what the Q means. Leclerc Q, maybe? I don't know. Q3, Q2? Who knows? Where's he qualified? But yeah, it said like the Formula 1 driver. So apparently it's Ludwig Leclerc. So I'll go with that, not rather than Leclerc. Now, that obviously sounds like I'm saying the same word twice, but I'm saying Leclerc. Whatever, viewers. Oh, I'm saying Leclerc, aren't I? Oh, yeah. Leclerc. Yeah. Podcast episode, viewers. We'll carry on. Right. But yeah, he's a really interesting player because I've been playing as an inside forward recently. And again, this year, having a really good year. So not necessarily someone that needs to be replaced on that left-hand side. I was looking through his form reports, though. And when he's playing as an inside forward in the last sort of 8 or so games, doesn't seem quite as impactful as when he was out there as a winger. Although, interestingly, he's not a winger. He's right-footed. He plays on the left-hand side. He in theory, is better as an inside forward. But in terms of what we're actually getting out of him, he's better as a winger. Yeah, doesn't really make sense to me either. Wonder-kid Frenchman, though, we probably should keep him around. I was going to try and bring in someone who's kind of more established, ready to be a member of the first team. Park Sung-yu, which is, I think, how you say it, £52 million. It would have been a lot of money. 155k. He accepted the contract. You can see he's pretty established, to say. 23 years of age, has got really, really beautiful attributes to play on the left-hand side. Fantastic dribbling, crossing, pace. Really dangerous out on the left-hand side. So that was someone we were considering. He's having some good seasons in Germany. It didn't work out, maybe for the best. And I know lots of people have been saying, oh, buy a striker, get a striker. And I just think if I'm going to buy a striker, that right now in the January probably isn't quite the period. And I know there'll be some of you sitting there going, yeah, but you need to qualify for the Champions League. I genuinely feel like with Rutz and with Bainaz, we've got 2 strikers of which I can't improve upon massively. And that's been a theme with all the teams we've been at. Because we've not been at the big dog teams in this Glory Hunter series, because we've been at the likes of Valencia and Leipzig and now here at Marseille, I'm never able to go out and get the superstar strikers. I mean, I did it at Valencia that one year. We got lucky. We bought him from a team that wasn't he wasn't a superstar when we bought him. We sort of turned him into that, and Valencia have gone on to be pretty good since I've been there. So, being Marseille, as we are right now, out of Europe, of course we were in Europe with Valencia, that was a key thing as well. It's a challenge to try and increase the squad and make them so much more than they are right now. I've got a few years, so I've got the option to maybe make this happen. It's just trickier than I wish it was. Yeah, podcasty episode viewers. We're talking through things today. Hopefully you like that. Financially, we're still in a really good spot, right? 54 million left to spend. I could maybe still spend it. As much as we've brought a player in, I've also let a player go out as well. He's a midfielder really isn't playing for me, as well as actually signing someone who's not here yet, but will be with us shortly. If you go to the outs here, you can see RodeNT. You're thinking, who? Yes, exactly. Rarely played him, the Uruguayan. Really unfortunate, really, just a player that hasn't played for me this season, and that's why we've moved him on. In previous years, he's actually been pretty good for Marseille. You can see he's struggling already, actually, at Atletico, having a very similar time as he was at us. So yeah, maybe this was a mistake by me, but I think making 10 million on him after they bought him from Nacional a few years ago from Uruguay, it's not the worst thing in the world. So I don't think the board are going to be too unhappy with the fact that we've brought in some money, and of course brought in a right winger as well. Speaking of players we've brought in, I mentioned another player that is on his way, if I go to the right screen eventually. Keith Byrne. Doesn't sound like he'd necessarily be a Dutchman, but 27 years of age. We're getting him for a free transfer. Now, there is the option, of course, to buy him now. They want 13.25 million. Interestingly, it was 13.75. So the closer we get to the deadline day, maybe we'll go back in, get him now, and yeah, in terms of his report, you can see he's a slight upgrade on Akiza, who has been brought in to play a similar role, also to play a little bit deeper if required. And team-wise recently, this is what we've been going with, and it's been working really well. You've seen the form, like it's been going really well. RodeNT hasn't been playing up front, so it seems weird now that I would change him. But the reason I put RodeNT in there, I always like to look at these graphs. This squad view, by the way, is available on the Steam Workshop for those that want it. If you search Dr. Benji on the Steam Workshop, you'll probably find it. Link it, Ben. You're right, I probably could have done. You can see from goals per 90 minutes that we've got a better ratio with RodeNT, 0.47. So we're scoring every 2 games, and it's slightly less for Bayanaz. So that was sort of my thought process going into today. But the more I think about it, the consistent form that we've had, probably keep Bayanaz in for this first game against Nims, away from home as well. In the Cup, chance to go to the quarterfinals, of course, a competition we're still looking to win. These aren't all the fixtures. I believe there's some more as well somewhere. Nice are still in there, PSG are still in there. So, yeah, the big guns definitely in this. I know it's actually Lille and Monaco play each other, so that's really good news for us. But an away game, a game that I'd expect us to win, especially with the form that we're in. I've just seen there, Nims are in very good form as well, so this could be a little challenging. Are they in League One, Nim? Because if they are, they're having a really good time of it at the moment. They are 10th, so they're in some good form. Despite all our league successes, by the way, still 5th. This is very much like Germany. Doesn't matter how well you do, you'll still find yourself in 5th. But we're definitely closer into the conversation now, which is really, really great. And the league game coming up later, we'll see how we can do in that one. So here we go then, viewers. So far, so good. I'm enjoying this. Feel relaxed. It's a Friday, you know, we've all had a long week, so I thought I'd give you something a little bit more relaxing to listen to rather than my jump cutty, I can't believe the cup's happening sort of attitude. I thought we'd go a little bit calmer for this one. It also suits my mood as well, because I've got some terrible shoulder pain at the moment, viewers, which I don't know. I'll tell you why it's happened, because I've been playing a lot of computer games with my right arm, and that's caused problems, and it's making it hurt. You didn't care? Okay. But hopefully it goes eventually. So I thought if I just do a nice relaxing episode where the mouse and me become one. Talking nonsense, viewers. This is the problem with the podcasty episodes. I've got gaps to fill, where ordinarily I could just shut up and wait for the next highlight. Whereas today, talking. But yeah, I mean, as I've got this opportunity, Glory Hunter, what a series it's been. We're not too far off completion now. Obviously, I can't complete the challenge because I've messed up international football. But most people don't seem too bothered. Quite a few people as well suggesting that we should maybe have that final year, which doesn't technically count, as this is a lovely move, by the way. Oh, we should have scored. Really great passing from us, though. Maybe we'll continue for an extra couple of years and see if we can tick it off. It will depend on what happens at the World Cup. I also haven't got an international team right now, so getting into the World Cup might be a challenge. Of course, we got a little bit fortunate with the international job at Spain. Someone retired and we stepped into those shoes. If that happens again for us, that'll be quite fortunate. So maybe that will come up. I think a lot of international contracts as well can often last like a year long. So sometimes they're reviewed and managers just sacked despite doing not that badly. It happens on occasion, as Bayanaz finds himself in here. Saliba with a great ball. Bayanaz probably should have had a better shot there, but a decent save. But no, all in all, I've had an absolute blast. People ask me all the time, what's your favourite Football Manager save? And I often talk about Salford and Palmer and Thames, of course, as well. See you soon. But yeah, so this is up there. Like, it's absolutely up there. The journey I've had, some of the players I've got to know and be friendly with, because I feel like it's weird, man. Football Manager videos are strange. As what's going on here, by the way, they're getting very close. You do find yourself becoming attached to players in the same way that you might be attached to Jeff Thomas or Lee or Ben Hur, right? Like these players that have been a part of my journeys, and now with the likes of Shelton and Diego, when people talk about Glory Hunter, they're the names that they're going to come to mind first. And it's just really fun for me that we have that with fictional, non-existing players that I will never get to meet. And that sounds quite sad, doesn't it? And I do feel like that. Not as sad as this defending, viewers, as I don't know what's just gone on there. We've given it away. Ball swung in. It's an open goal, pretty much. Mimi tips it over. Mimi's an interesting one, actually. It's interesting. Like, the fact he's come up is good, really, because the goalkeeper issue, I read through a lot of the comments yesterday, most of which was about the fact that I wasn't saying Leclerc. Sorry. It'll take a while, viewers. It's in my brain. Leclerc. Lots of them as well were saying get a new goalkeeper, and it's a similar situation to I was in actually at Valencia, where there isn't really, big chance. Go on, flipping heck. I should probably be concentrating more positive, maybe demanding a little bit more. Bayanaz is having a tough time. We'll get to what I was talking about in just a moment. I'm going to do the move that I talked about. Rutz is going to come on. It does improve us in quality slightly. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, goalkeepers. So there isn't a goalkeeper out there right now that, so Mimi is a 2.5. Like, if you pay any attention to star ratings, he's a 2.5 star goalkeeper. But the thing with star ratings is funny, really, because in your own saves, you probably don't care as much. But when it comes to looking at my players and judging my players as we go to extra time in this one, you've only really got the star ratings to go off. So if one area looks weaker, and you base it on the star ratings, the goalkeeper is that area in this team. So it looks as if I need to improve them. If we just, as a point of reference while we're talking about it very briefly, if you look at Mimi, in terms of his attributes, handling, reflexes, one-on-ones, some of those mentals and physicals, he's not bad. For a 21-year-old Brazilian, he's really not bad. And to improve on this, I probably have to spend 40 million to get a player that is a substantial improvement. To get a 3-star ability goalkeeper, I could do it for 10 million, 15 million. But do I really want that? I want a 3.5, maybe 4-star goalkeeper to come in and really affect how we are at the back. And right now, clean sheet wise, I think we've kept 5 in the last maybe 6 games. So we've looked really good in that area. So especially going to this January period, there hasn't been that need for me to think, right, that's where we're stumbling at the moment. It appeared to be attacking, hence I went for wingers. I want maybe more effective wingers, and as many of you rightly pointed out, a striker, as Rutz, speaking of which, goes close. We've got Diallo, who's slightly sharper, maybe to bring on, maybe on that right-hand side. Santos is having a quiet game. I just realised I've just not put the new player that I've bought on the bench, which is brilliant work by me. It's, again, conversative issues, viewers. As Santos is going to go off, Diallo's going to come on. We know he can be dangerous. Leclerc's having a tricky time as well, neither having a real impact on the game. We're having a lot of possession, which is good, and we're definitely having more shots. And from some of the episodes I know I've recorded with you, that usually means we lose. If this goes to penalties and we're out on penalties, I'm going to feel a little bit sick, viewers. As there is a highlight, though. Saliba, back in the side, despite his lack of pace, because he's a very controlling and authoritative defender, it actually works really well. He suits this team as Lejeune. We keep having these shots. We keep getting towards the edge of the box and just firing them off, and it's not really working. 115 gone. I've got to maybe think about, and I've done this before, if I've got any penalty takers on the bench. I don't necessarily think that we have. Oh, we're here again, viewers. It happens again. 10 for you, 11 for you. Now, 11 for our right back there might be quite high up in the context of us. This is maybe a bold decision, but I'm going to put on a slightly better penalty taker, viewers, as, right, time's ticking away. Oh, okay. Well, we're not quite there. Akiza picks it up. It's a terrible pass to Sova. We actually had Sova, you might remember. I think it might have been at Valencia. We had him on loan from somewhere else. That ball forward is dangerous, but actually it's worked out pretty well. And now Rutz has got the pace to get beyond his man. A late goal? Not this time, as it looks like. It's a podcasty episode, viewers. Thank goodness, because we've now got ourselves a penalty shootout, unless in the last 30 seconds something crazy happens. They've got a little bit of space on this right-hand side. We finally come out to close it. Diallo gets there. Can he put a challenge in, maybe? If they score in the final seconds of this game, there's going to be tears, viewers. I'm telling you now, there's going to be tears. They're not done yet. A challenge goes in. Is there one last chance for us? Akiza, he's lost the ball. Shelton's in the way, though. It looks like it's going to go to penalties, and it does. The player I've brought on is our best penalty taker. That is concerning. Right, what I'm actually going to do is not base it on penalty taking ability. I'm going to base it on finishing ability, viewers. That's right. So Akiza, these boys, and then fifth one, the actual man that is good at penalties. Hafidi's not on the pitch, so obviously don't count him for this one. I'll just remove him for the sake of arguments. Yeah, if it goes beyond that, then I'm just panicking, viewers. Right, penalty shootout. We'll go to 3 dimensions for it, of course. Why not? We'll go to director. We'll see what the director gives us. A behind-the-goal shot as the first penalty for Nims is scored. And the Glory Hunter comes down to this. I know I've got 2 more years, and I know I'm going to be in France. Diallo's had his penalty saved. It's a pretty good save as well. I don't really like this camera angle. We're going to go vertical scrolling. There we go, that's better. As Alan steps up, we need to save it. It's questionable goalkeeping, isn't it? On just about every level. Leclerc now stepping up. Can he find the back of the net? Again, not a penalty taker. Doesn't matter. He's got decent finishing. All we really need is to save one of these and everything turns around again. Right then, Mimi. It's a chance to prove to me that you should be the starting goalkeeper for this side. And he's not quite got there. Maybe penalty taking is just not his forte, viewers. Who knows? As Akiza now. I know none of them are good at penalties. None of them. None of this team are good at them. Every transfer should be based upon if their penalty taking is good, it seems. Especially with the sort of knockout competition that is the French Cup. I feel like I'm going to draw this game and then lose on penalties, because we've got to score the next one, otherwise it's over. I don't know who's stepping up for this, actually. I assume it's someone like RodeNT, so I don't think he's taken one yet. I guess he's got like the better finishing of everyone. It's RodeNT. Okay, he's trundling towards it. Their goalkeeper looking... I think he's going to save it, viewers. And I really hope I'm wrong. RodeNT steps up. I was wrong. But now it falls to this penalty here to keep us in it. RodeNT has given a fist bump towards our goalkeeper. Sort of a fist of joy. You sicken me to the core. Mimi now then. If they score, they're through. If they miss, we've got a very, very slim chance of still doing it. I mean, we've got our best penalty taker coming up. It now looks to me like we should have put him first rather than fifth. But here we go. Volpe. And the French Cup is not to be our year. After some brilliant performances recently, again, same old, largely dominating the game. We saw a lot of shots taken from the edge of the box. Lack of composure in the penalty area. Poor, really poor. But there it is, simply but not good enough. Frustrating. Really, really frustrating. Away from home as well. I mean, can I take that as maybe why? I don't know. I look at the results we've had in the other cup games. We've won both away games pretty comfortably. So this is the lottery of penalties. Is it more of a lottery in Football Manager that is in real life? Maybe so. And that's the way the cookie, I guess, crumbles. Don't tell me that Ruiz has really good penalty taking. That would have made me sick. Okay, 11. In the context of our team, mate, very, very good. Let's make sure he's registered. Of course, didn't have to be registered for the Cup. Does have to be registered for the league. We'll get him on the bench at some point as this is a player that's joined our under-19. Again, I sort of just let this happen. The director of football is in charge, I assume, just bringing players in for our second side and under-18s and stuff like that. Yeah, fill your boots, mate. 4 days to go. Now, in the context of Glory Hunter where we are right now, this is interesting because it takes a long time. So we're going to be here, say, for some time. Monaco being beaten by Lille. That's quite a big result, actually, as the rest of the boys that you consider contenders are still in there. If I see here that Nims get a really good draw and I'm going to be sick to my stomach, then that's going to be a real shame. We're away against Angers coming up next, so that's going to be a fun little game to see how we get on in, as this is just sort of, as I say, we're quite late into the game. We're not 20 years, but we're a fair whack in, with quite a lot of leagues loaded, quite a lot of players and teams, of course, so it does get a little bit slower at this point. Although, saying that, I've had some issues recently with Football Manager, with crash dumping. I'm hoping it doesn't happen today, because if it does, this episode is nothing and is a waste. And now I'm thinking, do I save here just to make sure I've definitely got that first game? Because I've had so many crash dumps recently, I think that probably the best thing to do is, yes, do that. I've tweeted it out, actually. A few people said that had similar problems. I don't know if it's just the time of the year. I don't know if it's just the internet. I don't know if it's because I use cloud saves. I don't know. I had 4 yesterday in the space of an hour, which was very, very frustrating. But here we are. I mean, I guess it happens, right? It's just, it was every time it happened as well, I was just continuing a day, and it was just like stuck on a day, and then just going, no, not doing it. I think it was before. Just trying to think about it. I think it was before the Montpellier game, for anyone that's wondering. So there you are. The struggle continues. Right, there we are. This is nearly saved. Again, these take longer as well. Cloud saves and all sorts. Of course, I use cloud saves these days. Not just because I had a computer issue a few years ago, but because I have a laptop downstairs. For those that, well, this is becoming a live podcast now, viewers. Hopefully you like this. Because I've got a baby on the way. I figured I would. Some people won't know that, which is quite. If this is the first time hearing it, yes, soon in the next couple of months. I've bought a laptop to do football managing downstairs. So if it wasn't bad enough for my fiancée Ellie, I've now not only got a system to play upstairs, I've got a system to play downstairs. But really, the idea is that I can be more involved with looking after our future child. So if anything, it was a smart purchase, and it's a tax write-off because it's a business expense. So loads of good points, viewers. Loads of adult conversations. That's what we're doing here, viewers. Right, I could go out and buy a striker. I could go out and buy a goalkeeper. You know me, I don't like to really buy in January ordinarily. That said, I did try and buy 2 wingers. So maybe this is a whole new me. We'll keep the money though. We'll spend it in the summer. I know it's going to be there. Thankfully, I know I'm going to have that money to spend. As loan offers for this, no, you're not. Obviously not having him. I'm so disappointed about the French Cup on penalties as well. Well, at least you got to see the pain and anguish, viewers, and not just have to watch me sort of cut it up and be sitting here annoyed, because I am annoyed. And now, because what's really funny actually, and it's something you'll never really see. People on stream see it. There's like this come down after disappointment that exists for what feels like a very long time. There's two big guns facing off here. PSG. God, I just hate them, because eventually what happens is we all get close together, and then Monaco fall away and PSG just win the league again. That's what I'm expecting to happen. But no, there's always that moment when I end a recording, especially when I end a recording after something really disappointing. And of course, like, you see a little bit of that in the video. Like the big ones are when I bottle it at the end of a full season. I might have talked about this before actually. I bottle it at the end of a season and I sit here and just think. And sometimes I leave it in. And obviously I showed you the Dortmund one, I think it was, where I'm just sort of sitting here, or maybe it was a Leipzig one, where I'm just sort of sitting here like, I've just spent a whole season. And like a season on Football Manager for me probably takes close to 10 hours, I would say, something like that. And I know, especially in Glory Hunter, when I have seasons where nothing happens. So as much as I enjoyed like Nice the last couple of years, nothing's really happened. It's just like, oh. So now the cup's not been won. I now know there's pressure on the last 2 seasons to come to get that done. And I'm 10 points off the top right now with equal games played to Monaco. We win this game. Who knows? Maybe we're back on for it, as Inzaghi's not quite fit to play. Ruiz is going to come onto the bench though. For who? That's a good question. Probably for Diallo, because every time I've brought him on, I feel like Diallo's done very, very little. Scored in the cup game recently because I rotated a little bit, but that's really it. For the team, I'm going to stick with this team. Although maybe I should play Leclerc as a winger again and just try that, because he's clearly more productive in that role. So we'll give it a whirl. A little bit worried at the back. And of course, because we've not got Inzaghi, maybe I should have bought a backup left back. I don't know. I mean, there's still time. Transfer window, isn't it? Jason has been filling in there. Left-footed, decent in that position. 6'4" though. That may be a problem for him. But we didn't lose the last game because of it, so I shouldn't worry about it too much. The other option is either Saliba or Fanga. Fanga's a slightly more mobile defender, but he's certainly not better in terms of like the mental side of football. So the pace of Saliba, though, it's getting worse. He had that injury, of course, at the start of the season. We'll go with this side, though. Of course, Fanga's on the bench. Ruiz needs a number. We'll go with 27, because the 7 of a right winger, in my mind. Some of you will be with me. What were we talking about before? I feel like I finished the conversation. I'm going to be a dad soon. That's it, really. But yeah, it's been a really. That process has been really interesting. Like it's things like these big life events and life changes, in the way that Twitch has gone for me recently, and the way that YouTube continues to sort of be as it is, that it makes me think I should do a podcast. But I don't think just me doing a podcast where I talk about my own thoughts. I mean, this is what I'm doing now. I just realised this is it, isn't it? You're watching it, you're listening to it. So maybe I should I talk about this all the time, and maybe I should do more. We've got the wrong camera angle. We're going back to 2D viewers, because I like to see how wide our wingers are playing, and it's easiest to do in 2D. So that's the way I like to function. Especially now I've changed up his duty again. He's definitely hanging far wider. As a Keezer, a lot funny actually. Speaking of central midfielders, we've gone from me being a dad suddenly to a Keezer. People have just assumed this year that attacking midfielders are a complete write-off. I don't fully agree with that. I haven't got the best out of them. I've definitely seen people that have. And in a stream save I've had with Boston, I've definitely been able to do it with them as well, as that was a little bit of a questionable decision. I think it was just a good tackle on the edge of the box. I've been able to get the best out of them there, more so than I ever have in Glory Hunter. Xavier Cabai, a big factor in that, as Dumas's shot there is blocked. And defensively, this 2-on-2 situation, I guess because of the way we play quite attacking, we are vulnerable at the back, and Saliba's pace might be an issue in that. Is he fouled him? You are kidding. I hate it, viewers. I'm so sick of it. First chance they've had, run into the penalty area. Brian has got a penalty. Can Mimi stop it? I'm very frustrated, viewers. I'm not going to lie. Oh, Mimi. Couldn't do that once last game, could you? Not once, but he saved the penalty. Hopefully that destroys the confidence of that guy as well. That tends to be the way it goes. As the ball's played in, Santos gets it clear. But no, I was talking about doing a podcast and talking about more life stuff. I think the only reason I'm saying that probably is because I've got more life stuff to talk about. Like, what I do now in doing like videos has been made possible by people on the likes of Patreon, and of course the people that support on Twitch, and the people that watch the YouTube videos, and people that are members of the channel, because you can do that these days. Like, this is now very much my job, and hopefully you've noticed in like this year, especially, I've definitely been loving it and thriving in this environment. And I've come to terms with the fact that, because people used to say to me, what do you think you'll be doing in like 3 years? What do you think you'll be doing in 2 years? And I would always say, I don't really know. You never know, do you? And now I feel like, I spoke about this on stream the other day. I feel like this is what I'll be doing in 3 or 4 or 5 years. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm not thinking it won't last forever. I'm thinking, yeah, do you know what? This is something I love doing. And I've got some amazing friendships out of this, as well as, like, I feel like creatively I've done some really nice things. As bonus, there we go. That's what we're talking about, viewers. 1-0. Better. And you can see that league table is looking better. For all we're out of the French Cup, an important goal there, Bayernaz, proving that it's worth putting some faith in him, not changing it around too much, keeping this team consistent has definitely been the key to our success, I think. But yeah, I'm definitely content in that, and I can only thank the people that, as I say, if you support on Patreon, if you're interested in helping with that, there's links in the description, but those that have been supporting on Twitch, and obviously my Twitch success has led to me having a few brand deals here and there, which have definitely helped out. You know, there's lots of things I want to do in the next year, and the stress of what's happened globally at the moment has sort of been added to the fact that obviously we're having a child, we want to buy a house, we want to get a mortgage, we want to do all these things that just sort of set us up for a long period of time, and it's a lot to think about. But I think the important thing is I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm not scared of it, and I'm 30 in 2 months in September, so that's one of those things that I think I'm not afraid of that either. And I definitely, like, in my mid-20s, when I felt pretty lost and I didn't really know what my objectives were and what my plan was, I'd look at 30 and think, God, I've done nothing. And now I look at 30 and think, there's so much more to do. And that's such a lovely feeling to have, and hopefully that feeling stays with me. I realise we're not really talking about Football Manager now, so it's just sort of going on while I talk to you. I have these conversations on stream quite often, but the difference is I'm not fixated on a chat, so I get to just sort of say how I feel. And I do blog posts on Patreon as well, which go into a little bit more detail, but they don't necessarily give me the freedom to do this. I don't know if you can do it. I would love to be able to do maybe bits on Patreon. Yeah, that's probably the way to do this, actually, is to do bits on Patreon. I'll do bits on my website and put, like, audio bits out of just what I'm thinking and the way my life is going and stuff like that. I don't know, I just think, and often I think for a lot of people that do that sort of thing creatively, sometimes it's not for people listening, it's for yourself, as that is wonderful. As he plays as a winger and he scored, viewers, it's typical. Akiza, in the attacking midfield role, does the business. Half an hour to go, 2-0 up away from home. Much better performance. It questions now why we couldn't do this in the last game, but I mean, here we are now. This ball from Akiza is delicious. But I think a lot of it is just for me, and it's dealing with sort of my own mental health, my own thoughts. And yeah, it's lovely how everyone is so supportive of that, and that's something I'll be grateful for forever. Like, this is what I do now is a major part of my life's journey, and you watching right now, as much as you might not think you have a big impact, whether you're like leaving likes on videos or commenting or, I don't know, tweeting me or whatever you're doing to sort of interact, or just watching, right? Like, the fact that I know you're out there watching somewhere in the world, it's just a lovely thing. And yeah, I'm very grateful. So if you're watching now, if you've got to this point, what are we now, 28 minutes in? Thank you very much. It means a lot. And hopefully we're not done yet. As Bayernaz, well, Marseille maybe not quite done yet, goes through again. Really dominating this game, by the way. Mimi saved a penalty. He's having a clean sheet. He's got a 9.2. Wow, viewers. Forget everything I've said about my life. That's amazing. A 9. Wow, that's the real... There's big changes coming in my life, viewers. But that right there, that is phenomenal. Like, who would have seen that coming? Not me, viewers. Not me. As Damas is on the ball. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, I know people do enjoy this sort of content. It's not the sort of thing you can do every week, though, because I don't want to sort of... I don't know. I feel guilty for just doing this sort of video sometimes, because I don't want to put all of my life adventures on you. But I think some of you are interested at the same time. So sometimes it's nice to talk about it, again, in a different format to Twitch, where it's very much live. Whereas this, I can, I don't know, be a bit more relaxed with it. 2-0 victory. That's the most important bit, viewers. Forget everything. That's the most important bit. As passionately say, well done, lads. Good win for us. Great win for us. A 9 for Mimi. I mean, I wish he'd saved a penalty in the last game. But yeah, things a penalty save will do for a goalkeeper on Football Manager. 6 straight wins now in the league, which is really, really great. Our league form is fantastic. Really, really is. Again, the game against Dijon, from there onwards, that I think the defeat to Nice is what we needed. Oh, I'm so annoyed about the French Cup. Flipping heck, viewers. Is there a quarter-final draw for that as well, which is going to make me even more angry? Or are they going to have to be playing PSG? It's not happened yet, because PSG haven't played. Okay, fair enough. Right, next time we shall meet then, let's have a think about this. Probably towards Lille. Probably makes sense. There's obviously some tough games in February, so maybe we'll do those as well. I'll try and make a video over the weekend so we can get a little bit more of this. Those expecting more Newcastle, sorry that it's sort of taken a bit of a backseat at the moment. Again, it'll come back periodically. with that journey. But yeah, I don't know where we'll go. Leon, one of those maybe, one of the L's. Hopefully with a W. Right, if you enjoyed this, gang, please do drop a like on it. Want to see some more? Subscribe to the channel. And my camera has just run out because it does 30 minutes. So yeah, I'll see you again soon. We love with care. You can't see me, but goodbye.